Morning all. The last slot, I think, before the panel, which is good news for you all, I hope. So IP Group is a FTSE 250 entity, so I'll start with the wonderful disclaimer that I'll expect you all to read and ask questions on later. But let me describe IP Group in a little more detail. So IP Group's all about taking very, very early stage ideas, often from universities, and turning them into significant businesses of scale. And I'll try in this short presentation just to give 3 examples that hopefully bring to life the way that we operate as a business. So one is the fact that we start from things that are in extremely early stage, so literally often an idea that's come out of a university. We are a listed entity, so quite different from a closed-end fund that has a number of benefits associated with it. Means that we can stay with businesses for a long period beyond, if we think it's appropriate, the constraints of a closed-end fund. We have 4 specialist sectors that we focus on. One of those is clean tech, hence me being here today. And that means that the people who work in the clean tech sector have been in the sector for a number of years and can help the businesses that we work with in detail as they consider their strategy. And finally, it seems to be working. You know, our results are pretty good. We've delivered around 20% returns year on year for the last 15 years or so. So good results. So that's IP Group, and I'll give you 3 example companies to try to bring to life what we do as a business. Dukosi is the first. So Dukosi is playing in the area of battery smarts. I don't know if there are other businesses presenting along these lines today, but actually Dukosi is here. The CEO will be presenting later. Our view on batteries, as many of the people in the audience will know, is that they're basically going everywhere. Applications all over the place, from automotive, forklift trucks to grid. And much of the focus at the moment is on manufacturing scale-up. So this is a relatively recent FT article. It shows some of the manufacturing facilities that are being built. Top of the list is actually CATL, Chinese entity. I went to visit not too long ago, and it literally is basically a city where they've got the current city, and then there's the kind of, you look out where a new city is being built. That's CATL. So that's where much of the manufacturing and investment is going into the battery sector at the moment. And our view on batteries is that there are some similarities with solar here. So what happened in the solar industry is there was significant investment into manufacturing. There was a lot of investment into new solar technologies. And then what happened was that the solar became commoditized. Conventional PV prices dropped faster than many people predicted. A lot of the thin film manufacturers and investors in those manufacturers lost their shirt, and actually value accrued to the sort of smarts, the software, the power electronics that went around that sector, people like SolarEdge and chip inverters. And we see something similar here in batteries. This picture is a battery management system. When you look at it, that's kind of state of the art, and it looks pretty budget. It's really an afterthought. As I said, all the investments going into battery manufacturing. And so our investment thesis is that doing something in that area would be interesting. We identified a company that was very early stage, had been around for a number of years doing chip design, and then had focused in on battery management systems. And what Dukosi has is a revolutionary approach with a set of patents around the wireless communications, near-field wireless communications, the fact that the chip that they own is distributed around the pack, and a number of other benefits. I won't tell you too much more because Charlie is going to be presenting later on today, so look out for his pitch. That's one of the portfolio companies. Another one completely different is a business called Xeros. So Xeros, this started out in 2006 when the academic from the university came along with a box of Tupperware beads and said, sorry, a Tupperware box full of beads, and said, "This is the future of washing." And it turns out to be a really innovative approach. So what the beads do is act in a mechanical way to wash clothes. So actually, what happens with water, it's a lot of the mechanical action of the water is what washes your clothes. And if you use beads, then you can dramatically reduce the amount of water that you need for the wash by sort of order of 80%. That means you can reduce the amount of energy that you need because you don't need to heat the water, and you also need dramatically less chemicals. And it's not just the environmental benefits of this technology, but also the performance results are much better. So there's a few pictures that you can see bottom left, which are, one is a railway workers uniform, and you can see the cleaning results. You can also see bottom left the reduction in shrinkage that you get as the scarf has been washed, and the reduction in discoloration. And those things mean that you get longer lifetime of your clothing, which is helpful for all of us as consumers, but particularly in industrial applications where, for example, firefighter uniforms can cost anything around $5,000 for one ensemble. And so if you can extend the life of that ensemble by a couple of years, that's a dramatic benefit. Xeros is already in the market. Has a set of machines across, I think, 8 or 9 of the top 10 hotel chains in the US, as well as in laundry. It's pursuing other applications for its technology. So having done sort of commercial laundry and now looking at sort of specialist workwear areas, it's now moving into leather processing. Recently announced a deal with I think Austrian tannery, where the similar benefits exist, and obviously leather tanning is a massive industry that Xeros can be applied to. And then beyond leather processing, there's also garment finishing and all the processing that goes into garments and getting things like jeans ready to market. And the last picture is just to say that we've supported this business for a number of years and had many interventions to help them. You know, in the early stage, the chap who is now our CFO was their CFO. And that's the kind of model that we use. We get very, very actively involved with these businesses and support them over an extended period of time. And last business I'll use to talk about from the clean tech portfolio IP group is Azuri. So again, completely different. Azuri is focused on the opportunity around the provision of energy and services to those living off-grid in Africa. There are currently 600 million people who live off-grid in Africa, and that number is growing all the time because the population growth is outstripping the expansion of the grid. And there are various market estimates about the size of the opportunity, but it's an order of $25 billion in provision of lighting, which is currently provided mostly by kerosene or mobile phone charging. And so Azuri already has over 100,000 systems deployed in the field to service those requirements. But it's not just lighting and mobile phone charging that Azuri can provide. Those benefits are significant because kerosene is horrendous, causes lots of health problems, and mobile phone charging requires people who mobile phone ownership is basically ubiquitous across Africa, but mobile phone charging often requires going to the local village in order to go and get your mobile phone charged up, waiting for 3 hours, and then picking it up. Quite different from what we would experience. So if you can do it at home, big benefit. But if you look bottom left, it's now things like TVs. So Azuri has a set of satellite TVs that they've deployed across Africa, and the services and requirements for infotainment, education is growing very, very quickly, and we see that as a very exciting opportunity. To go and deliver these products and services in Africa is not straightforward. There are a set of things that you need to get right, and we feel confident that Azuri's done that, and it's involved a lot of support from us. Really 3 pillars. One is around distribution, so working with partners on the ground who have very extensive distribution networks and helping to support them. Finance, so using a lot of off-balance sheet and innovative financing approaches to reduce the cost of capital and mean that we can keep the equity base quite tight. And then also fundamentally the product and services that you offer and ensuring that they are right for the market. And again, good results. You know, this is kind of revenues this year. We're about 3x year to date at Azuri, and things are going very, very well. We're very excited about that business. So hopefully that gives you a whistle-stop tour of 3 example portfolio companies at IP Group in the clean tech division. Gives you an idea about some of the things that mark us out as different from many investors in this space. Very happy to talk to you. I'm here for most of the day. Happy to talk to you about any of those portfolio companies, and indeed if you've got opportunities that may be interesting for us. We like things that are start very early stage but can go on to be very significant businesses, as many of these are. Thanks very much.